and welcome to Will Do Words. We're your hosts, Carly
and Zoe. So Carly, what was the highlight of your weekend?
Ooh, the highlight of my weekend was Sunday morning, sitting in a very sunny spot at the cafe and having a café con leche and a tostada con tomate. Mm-hmm. Very traditional Spanish breakfast and very much needed. What was the highlight of your weekend?
Funnily enough, it sounds quite similar to yours. It was Sunday morning. We went to our local churros shop, and we managed to beat normally about 10:30. It's crazy busy, but I don't know, this weekend people were living life somewhere else other than the churreria. So we had churros, we sat in the sun, we talked with the family. It was really nice.
Sounds delightful.
And I had a cola cow too.
Ooh, delicious.
Yeah, hit the spot.
Nice.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
So there are many ways and reasons to move to Spain.
Yes.
Or to any country for that matter, not just Spain.
Yeah, absolutely. So last episode, we focused on the Auxiliar de Conversación program, which we are both a part of, and that's how we are coming live from Spain. And yeah.
I think it's also the internet is how we're coming live from Spain.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, that's the reason we are in Spain.
Yes, the reason we are in Spain.
Sorry, just to be pedantic. The AUX program is really popular, and one of the main reasons is because you only work for 4 days a week, which leaves you plenty of time to travel.
Yes, so naturally, today we are going to outline some of the travel options here in Spain, in case we haven't convinced you enough that this is the place where you need to come and spend some time.
Cool. So settle into comfy seat and let's dive in.
Yeah. First of all, Zoe, what has been your favorite trip here in Spain so far?
Okay, I've just realised that I did not prepare for this question at all, so you're getting an on-the-fly answer too.
I love it.
Probably my favourite trip, talking about overnighter trips here, would be when I went to Malaga in December last year, at the start of December. I'm a beach person, I love the ocean, and that was almost the longest time I've been without the water. So it was really nice just to... it was actually an amazing bus journey in, because we'll talk about it later, but the public transport, buses. And you come in through this windy little road. It's kind of in a bit of a valley. It was really, really pretty. I was reading a really nice book, and then I was like, oh, I can see the water, because I get really excited when I see the water. And it was just, I think back on it now, and rose-coloured glasses and everything, but it was like a formative travelling in Spain experience. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I got to talk to some really lovely locals. I got to swim every morning and stand out like a giddy because no one else was swimming. And yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really lovely.
Very cool.
What about you? What has been your favourite trip?
That's a hard question, because I feel like every place I've been to in Spain I have really loved. It's hard to find a favorite, but some of my favorite memories are, I really loved La Palma, which is in the island of Mallorca. My mom and I went one year when she was visiting me for her birthday. And that was a really great trip, a really lovely long bike path along the ocean. And then I also really love Barcelona. I mean, it's kind of a sweet spot for me. I spent time studying abroad there for 5 months, so I was able to walk almost every inch of the city, which was less of a trip and more of kind of like an experience.
But you went on a trip every day.
Yes,
you walk outside and it's a new adventure.
I love it. Yes, a trip is every day. But yeah, some of my favorite pieces are from Barcelona and on that trip to Mallorca. But I also have some really fond memories of going to Granada and walking around the Alhambra, which is this big
amazing
palace. Yes, with all the very old architecture and just very Spain. I feel like by definition is the old Al-Andalus and just culture and history so deeply in the architecture there. So, yeah.
You know what, the whole time you were talking,
Yeah.
I just kept thinking about other trips that I really liked in Spain. And I think it's so, I'm not decisive on a good day. And it's so hard to pick one because I feel like every trip I hold parts of it treasure. Like I went back to Granada. That was my first time in Spain, was in Granada. So that was really special as well. But we're not here just to talk about our favourite trips.
Yeah. We want to note that, so as we mentioned, I think, on why we are in Spain and how we got here, the region that we were currently living in is called Murcia. And I know for me, I had never heard about this place in Spain before.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this place?
Absolutely not. I had heard, and I travel similar to you. We've both been in Spain before, and I've been through Andalusia. I've been through like the further, like the central northern part.
Right.
Northern from here part, not north. Central is probably the best word.
Yeah, around Madrid and that area.
Yeah, and Toledo, Cordoba, all of that. But yeah, no, Murcia has never registered, and I think talking to people as well, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go to Valencia, I'm going to go to Barcelona, I'm going to go to Madrid. My people don't really say Madrid, but you know, that most people go to those hot spots, like the really big areas.
Yeah, those like catchy, big name cities, which are amazing and very central to the culture here. But it is a joke in Spain that Murcia no existe, which literally means Murcia doesn't exist, right? So I and we are here to say that Murcia exists and it is awesome.
And we are gonna sing her praises to you today.
Yes. So obviously I'm very partial to our small town that we've both been living in, right? Cieza is just a really cool small town with the floración and the blossoming of these melocotón trees, which are peaches, and there's some almond trees, and just in the spring, the countrysides of pink and pink and pink, as far as you can see, are really spectacular.
Yeah, especially as we talked about in the first episode, with this gigantic mountain looming out, all of this pink and white, this sort of sea of pink and white surrounding the mountain. It is quite a humbling thing to look at.
Yes.
And just whilst you're talking about how, you know, they say in Spanish, Murcia no existe, they also say that in Murcia hay toros. Because they have the beach, they have the mountain, they have the country, they have the river. And I remember when I was first started talking to people from Murcia, moving to Murcia, they were saying, oh, well, we're really close to the beach. Because by Spain standards, it is very close to the beach.
And there are some people that live in Murcia that do live right on the beach, right?
Yeah,
so there's that coast of towns that live there.
Yeah, so today I think what we're going to do is we're going to start up at the top of the Murcia region and sort of work our way down. Yeah. So,
obviously the top are bias. Cieza, but other places that we visited in Murcia.
So let's start from the north and work our way down.
Yeah.
So I think we should preface this, and I'm going to jump around a little bit. Sorry.
No.
I do not have a car. I drive on the other side of the road in New Zealand. And one thing about Spain is most of the cars here are manual.
Correct.
Automatic cars are few and far between.
Yeah.
So I have chosen not to have a car, and I use public transport.
Yes.
Or, you know, Murcia central town is the transport hub, so we have to catch a bus into Murcia to go anywhere else.
Yes.
Or I rely on the good faith of the people around me if they feel like taking me anywhere. Or I have also learnt about BlaBlaCar, which is quite widely used over here. So preface is that all of these places are places that I can get to by the, you know, by a bus or by someone who likes me well enough to take me somewhere.
Yes. So I've done a lot.
Story.
Yeah. Well, I've done a lot of these on public transportation as well, using the bus. And then I've also rented cars as well. I've done road trips, or when friends and family come to visit, have rented cars.
Yeah.
And then also friends that I've had here who have cars as well. Right. So these are places that you can get to easily by bus, and other places are accessible. I mean, everywhere is pretty much easier accessible with a car.
Yeah.
But
100%.
not impossible to get to with public transportation.
So, the furthest north I've been in the region of Murcia is Calasparra. It was one of the first places that I remember being mentioned to me in the Murcia region, because it has what they call a santuario, or a sanctuary, which is not what you're thinking, English people. It's not. They don't have animals running around that are, smiling and living a happy life.
Not an animal sanctuary.
No, it is a religious sanctuary. But the thing is, it's in a valley, in a very steep valley, and the sanctuary is about halfway down the valley, I'd say. And it has a church that has been built into this massive rock wall. And we live in Siesta. It's quite a busy little place, really. It's only ever quiet during siesta time.
Yes, 2 to 5.
Yeah, and even then, it's still got noise going on.
Yeah.
So when I arrived to the Santuario, you drive down this, this winding road with big trees, and it was just peaceful. It was really peaceful, and it's a little bit further north, so it's a bit cooler, and it was just a really calming place. And I was told to go there because what happens there is, feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm going off course here, but people make offerings to
the saint that is on display in the sanctuary, right?
Yeah, and so people will offer their wedding dresses. They will offer, people have offered bullfighting kits. They've offered all sorts of stuff. So it was a really unique experience to go there and have a look around. And it's just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So that would be my first on my list, is Calasparra. I think it's quite a cool place to go and visit. And a lot of, I guess, as much history as you want.
Yeah.
You can learn about it, or you can just go and you can be in awe of the nature and the peace.
Right.
So, what about you?
I'm gonna say Caravaca de la Cruz. So the first time that I drove into this town, there was a medieval festival going on. So it was on my first road trip with some friends, and we saw a sign for a medieval festival. I said, okay, let's check it out. So all the streets were decorated, and I felt like I was stepping right back in time, which was unbelievable. I have since been back and gone to other cafes and some museums, and there is a church on the top of the hill, which is spectacular, which typically Spanish towns have churches on hills, and then the town, and then land around. No exception this town, but just walking around the small little streets and some of the cafes and restaurants around there are really great. And there's also this really cool park that they have with a beautiful stream running through, and I went during the fall, so I had just come from the northeast of the United States, which in the fall is typically full of colors. So when I got here, I was kind of like, oh, I just love the fall and the beautiful colors. And then my friend brought me there, and it was like, wow, it's full of colors and the changing of the season. I'm like, okay, a piece of what I love from home is also here, just right in the backyard. So that was really cool as well.
Have you been to the festival there? I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's Caballo de Vino?
I have not been to that festival, no. I have heard about it, and that there's a lot of people that really enjoy it.
Yeah, so for our listeners, think running of the bulls, but with horses, and people are strapped to the horses, like one on each leg sort of thing.
Yeah.
When I was first told about it, I was mortified. I thought that must go very, very badly wrong. But apparently it's absolutely fine, and people have a ball every year. Yeah. So I don't know when it happens. I'm going to say May.
I'm not sure.
But, if there's something you're interested in, go and have a look. I also just want to jump in and say, when I went to Caravaca de la Cruz, it was nighttime.
Oh.
It was just on twilight. And so there's the mountain, the fortress or the castle on top of the mountain was lit up. And the sun was setting back. It was beautiful.
Very dreamy.
Very dreamy.
That's awesome. And then a little bit more about our town, Cieza.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have this beautiful river, the Rio Sayuda, the Sure River. And we have some really interesting places to go, right? So we have this really old ancient city called Medina Siasa that is one of the oldest Arabic settlements, the old Arabic settlements that they have conserved at the top of this mountain. That's really quite beautiful, and you can go in and take tours of the site on the top of the mountain. But then we also have the Museo Siasa, right? That kind of tells you and goes more in depth about the stories and the artifacts that they have found when they were doing excavation on this site. And
some amazing artifacts.
Yes, and they have rebuilt this city, parts of the houses in the museum, which is really cool.
It's definitely worth your while.
Yes.
And they have these beautiful big wide, well, it's actually a glass wall that you look at Atalaya, our mountain, and across the Melocotón fields.
And you can see the old fortress on the top of the mountain, and as well the settlement kind of standing in the replica, but then also being able to look up at the mountain, which is spectacular. Something else that we have is some really old cave paintings as well, that you can kind of scale down into these caves and see the old art that's on these walls, which is absolutely spectacular. And again, something I would never have known without coming here and talking to the local people and being like, yeah, we have this, and it's really cool.
And they're so proud of it.
Yeah.
They're so proud. I went for a walk the other day, heading north, because I just jumped on Google Maps and went, oh, what's the next town along the river? And it's called Barretera. I went, I'm going to walk to Barretera today. And so I walked and I walked and I walked and I walked. And I stumbled across, I was following the river, and I stumbled across this little swimming hole. Just in the middle of the river. It was absolutely gorgeous. I sat myself down. I felt the sun on my shoulders because we're just starting to dip into spring here now.
The sun is shining and the sun doesn't set until after 8 p.m.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
Yes. So yeah, that's my little introduction. I don't have anything more to say on the matter. But I guess diving further down, if you're sort of coming from north to south, is Archena.
Yes.
Will probably be next on the list.
Yes.
I haven't been here, so feel free to...
Yes, it's a cool little town. The special thing about Archena is they have these thermal pools, balnearios, that you are able to go in and swim around in, which are really cool. So they have the hot pools, the cold, medium, and then the cold. And these thermal pools are said to have healing properties, so they're supposed to be good for your health and just your overall well-being. So that would be in Archena, and those are quite spectacular to spend a day and just float around. They also have a spa and a little restaurant that you could eat there, or go to some of the cafes that are in and around the town of Archena, which are awesome.
And isn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Mr. Eiffel take a liking to this area because of the healing properties of the water?
Yes, so you heard that right, Mr. Eiffel. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, where do we know that name
Where
from?
do we know that? So the man who designed the Eiffel Tower, Mr. Eiffel, he was said to have come and visited in and around this area, and towards his older age, he had some issues, and he met a man here, and he, was buying fruit, the oranges and the lemons that are also said to have good source of vitamins and good for your overall well-being.
And very well, this region is very well renowned for...
Yes, lemons specifically.
Yes.
But also the oranges. So Mr. Eiffel would come down here and go to these balnearios, these thermal pools, and take a little dip in these pools, and he got to be friends with people in the community. And in the little town of Ulea, there is actually a building that was designed by Mr. Eiffel himself. So it is a really cool pink building in this very small town. You can walk around the streets. It's a very quiet town, but also just really beautiful and cool to see a little piece of this French architecture from Mr. Eiffel here in this region of Murcia, which is not as well known, but definitely a little fun hidden gem.
And that's what we're here for, right? All the hidden gems.
Yeah.
So I guess if we sort of follow in the north to south, we're probably getting close to Murcia city now, right?
Yes.
And Murcia said so.
City center of Murcia.
Yes, sorry, city centre. And so I come from New Zealand, and the cities that we have in New Zealand, I've decided are quite small. And I knew this before I went abroad, but yeah, people say that Murcia is a very small city.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree.
On your scale of cities.
Yeah, I'd say it's larger than some of the cities I'm acquainted with at home. And there's so much to do and see.
Yeah.
So it's got a really good bus station, and I'm sure we're going to touch on the bus station later because I feel like it's my second home by this point. But there is a beautiful big cathedral that you can walk around, and my goodness, the size of the organs in there are just...
It really is quite beautiful. Yeah. And there's a bell tower that you can go to the very tippy top. Mm-hmm. It's a running joke that this will be the 3rd year that my mom comes to visit me, and she has yet to step foot in the cathedral. And she goes, I am so excited to visit Murcia and for the cathedral to be closed again. But
oh no!
This time I'm going to make it a point that she will go into the inside because it's definitely worth looking at.
And having been in a few different cathedrals and monasteries, it is different to others, especially, if you jump across into Andalusia, this is quite different to what you would find over there.
And the facade on the cathedral is quite spectacular as well.
I spent a lot of time actually just walking around the cathedral before I made it in there, and it's quite an imposing building. And there's... Gosh, I think we could spend the whole episode just talking about Murcia because there's so much in the city centre that you can go look at. My favourite time to walk around there is about any time between 1 and 5.
Siesta.
Well, siesta, but also tardeo. And everyone is outside, there's live music playing, there's someone with a guitar somewhere.
Someone's singing.
Someone's singing. Everyone is just in the sunshine, bathing away with a glass of tinto, eating some tapas. It just has a really good feel to it. So, is there anything else you wanted to add about Murcia?
Yeah, there's a couple of really cool museums that are in and around the city.
Think of that.
And then also there's this place called the Casino, which is a beautiful architectural building in the inside. And it used to be a salon where the people would go in, mostly men I believe, for quite a while, would go in and hold salon. There's a beautiful library, and now it's just a really cool place to take pictures and just kind of look at some of the different architecture and paintings that are on the ceilings and throughout the building.
And outside of the casino, they have lovely gardens as well, right? And again, I think just to walk around it is enough. You don't even have to go inside half of these buildings. Okay, so where is our little magical mystery bus tour taking us next?
Yes, let's see.
Well, I'm going to head to Lorca on my mystery bus tour, which is, it's on the east. It's on the east. Heading along the coast. And Lorca is quite a big little city on its own. Have you been there?
I have not, no.
I was blown away by just how big it is when we arrived. And it's an hour and a little bit from Cieza. And there's a lot of history. It has lovely big paseos, lovely big dirt roads that you can walk through. It's kind of like Murcia but on a smaller scale. It has a lovely big castle up on the hill that you can go and visit, and you can spend hours looking in the castle. It has lots of beautiful little buildings. Because what happened is there was an earthquake in, I think, 2009. So a lot of the buildings sort of fell over and Spanish bureaucracy, right, hasn't been fixed yet, or some of them have been fixed just by the owners. But there is a church there that literally split in half.
Oh wow.
But they stuck it back together again.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool to go and look at, because you can follow sort of the line where it fell apart.
That's so cool.
So I only went there for a day, and I just got lost wandering around. For me, I liked it because it had a nice difference between flat and uphill, because it's kind of nestled into a hill, so it's at the foot of the hill. Nice. I could spend hours talking about it, but I won't, because the bus is leaving, and where are we going to next, Carly?
I'm going to take us straight to the beach.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Yes. So my favorite beach spots that I've gone to are Masaron, which is just really beautiful sand and sea, Mediterranean. It's just, the color is spectacular. Great little restaurants, and yeah, I mean, can't go wrong at the beach.
No. Yeah. Gosh, and some of the beaches down this way, it feels like you've jumped on a plane back to an English-speaking country, right?
Some of them, yeah. There is a lot of tourists that speak English, so either from England or German people who come in and also speak English.
And there's quite an expat community in some areas as well. So if you're like me and you're craving some food from home, you can head down that way and enjoy the delicacies.
Yeah.
There's also, talking of beaches, there is San Pedro del Pinatar, which has flamingos in it.
It does. So they are wild flamingos just right along this beach, and they're close to the salinas, which are these salt fields, which are really beautiful. So part of these salt areas are pink, and then you turn your head and you see flamingos just flying around.
Magical.
And it's interesting because in Spanish, flamingo is flamenco.
Yeah, which flamenco is also a type of dance.
Yes.
Which takes us to a whole different region.
Yes.
And my goodness, I don't know about you, but I think we need a whole episode just to talk about Andalusia.
Yes.
Because
there's so much to do.
So rich in culture, and there's so much to do.
Yes.
So I think we may have to do a little bit of a U-turn.
Yeah. The last place, well, not the last place, in Murcia. That's great.
There's plenty of places in Murcia.
But the other big city, right? So we have the capital city of Murcia, so this region is called Murcia, and then the city of Murcia.
Yeah.
We
not
also
to be confusing.
Yes, of course not. The other big city in this region is called Cartagena.
Oh, but don't tell the people from Cartagena that you're saying to us in Cartagena, because thank you very much, they would like to be independent of Murcia.
Right. But it's funny, this region of Murcia has two head cities, right? Because there's one part of the government that goes in Murcia and the other part in Cartagena. So it's the only region in Spain that has two different cities. Right?
Go figure. Yeah. And speaking of cities, Cartagena was an old Roman city.
It was.
We go back a few hundred years.
Yes. So it is a port city. So there's a little bit of beach, but it's mostly port area.
Yeah, and
right?
there's a naval base as well.
Yes,
you
correct.
can watch the navy boats go past. But I think probably the biggest attraction would be the Roman theatre that they have there.
Yes.
Which it is, again, it's sort of built into a hillside. And I couldn't even tell you how many hundreds of years old it is, but it is old.
Very old. The time of the Romans.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. In the Roman time, they created this theatre. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was just sort of left after the city was occupied by others, and they sort of just started to put things in and build over top of this theatre, and then a while, I don't know how many years ago, someone had the great idea to recover this Roman theatre, and so parts of it have wasted away and have been eroded by rain rain, doubtful, but water and whatnot.
Yeah. Just the general conditions.
Yeah.
Wind and...
But it is quite... I have to admit, I screwed up when I went there and I couldn't find the entrance, so I went in the back way, which is good because you didn't have to pay the entrance fee. But we didn't get to go the whole way through. But you can see all of the seats and everything have still been restored, and it's... I'm sure there's a walking tour that you can do and everything, but I missed out on all of that. So have you been?
I have. It's quite spectacular. Just even walking around the streets around the Roman theater, but when you are at the very tippy top, you can kind of turn your head and look to the port. And you're like, oh, yeah. Trying to imagine what this used to be like in the old days when it was in its hustle and bustle with a performance going on, but then being able to turn your head and see all these old ancient ships
see the seagulls wheeling above you. It is quite something.
Yeah.
And there's peacocks.
Yes.
Which is
there is
just a fun added bonus, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of peacocks in random cities in Spain. I believe it was a gift to one of the royalties, king or queen. I'm not exactly sure which one. I can't remember at the moment, but they are just randomly in some cities. Yeah,
and they do just kind of multiply and just stay put. Yeah. Funnily enough, no one's ever done anything about that.
No, they're kind of cool. They're like, oh, peacock.
Yeah, where did you come from? Especially in Cartagena, because it's such a coastal, it is coastal.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... that's Murcia in a nutshell. Yeah. I'm sure we've missed lots.
Oh, we've definitely missed lots.
And it is, as we said, it's not somewhere that people know of.
Right.
But, you know, uncovering those unhidden gems makes it so much better sometimes.
Yeah. Not knowing what to expect and then just kind of coming in and having your eyes blown right open. You're like, whoa.
So... don't rule Murcia out of your travel plan. Yeah, there is, as I said before, in Murcia hay todos. There's the mountains, there's the rivers, there's the country, there's the beach, there's everything you could want.
Yes.
So come see us.
Yeah. And also, if we've missed anything, super, super important for those people who are listening from this area or other parts of Spain.
Please tell us.
Definitely would love to check some more things out.
Yeah, and send us through your recommendations, please.
Yes.
And, you know, if you have any, I want to hear about this area, I want to hear about this town, please tell us. We can do an episode on that going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's lots of options for travel, and there's lots of options to travel in Spain within our region. So, yeah, if there's anything that's piqued your interest today, or if there's anything you want us to talk about, please do reach out and let us know.
Comment on either Spotify, or Instagram, on YouTube, anywhere that you're watching or listening or following along with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd love to hear from you and your Spain favorites. And if we haven't mentioned anything today, what should we check out?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool.
So, if you think it, you can do it. So, what will you do?
These are our will do words today. As always, if something we say piqued your interest, please get in touch with us. Instagram is probably your best bet. We're also on YouTube and Spotify though.
Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe and not miss a minute of our words. So, until next time, I'm Carly.
And I'm Zoe.
And this is Will Do Words.